I think the best answer to that question is to use an online calculator, of which there are many available. The Money and Pension Service have one, for example. And in a few minutes, you can plug in your current salary, your current income, how old you are, maybe how much you're saving at the moment, because most people are saving something for retirement, when you want to retire, and out the bottom will pop a little number that says you should be saving this much, or you're currently on course to have this much money in retirement. And the important thing to remember with that is there are loads of assumptions in there and they'll all be wrong, right? So inflation, investment returns, I mean, maybe arguably you can get the charges right because it's a known quantity, but they'll vary over time because you'll change jobs. Your income will go up and down. Your health will change. So when you actually start drawing on your pension, it's really difficult to predict up front. But it will give you a number, and it won't be a bad number. It'll be a really good starting point. So I would encourage, if you're going to do one thing, if you're sitting here thinking, I'm in a pension or I'm thinking of starting a pension and I don't know how much to save, that's a really good way to spend 10 minutes. It's not a big imposition. It's really useful time. And actually what I'd also encourage people to do is to come back and do that regularly, because your circumstances change. So your income changes, or you get into a relationship, or you have kids, or your health changes. Stuff changes over time. So it's quite a good discipline to keep coming back and revisiting that over time. You need to look at the assumptions the calculator is making. So when it says you're going to have a pot of £1 million, has that taken account of inflation or not? Because or are the assumptions around the investment returns, are those real returns or inflation adjusted returns? So I think that's a really good thing to do. There are other ones. I love one that's just a really nice rule of thumb. Do you know about the half your age thing? Have you come across that one? So whenever you start saving for retirement, halve your age. So if you start when you're 30, half of that's 15. That's the percentage of your income you should be putting in a pension. Now that's pretty crude, but it's not wildly inaccurate as well. It produces quite a high, scary number. It illustrates how important it is, if you can, to be in a workplace pension for those who are lucky enough to have an employer, because that employer contribution makes a massive difference to the equation. As another rule of thumb, I'd say just broadly, if you're saving less than 10% of your income, you're probably not saving enough, right? So the most accurate way to get an answer to that question is to go and use an online calculator.
So these numbers, I can already hear people going 15% at 30 or 20% at 40. These are big numbers, right? Yes. First of all, are you talking total retirement savings, not just money into a pension? So what I mean by that is people might have an ISA or other kind of...
Agree with that. So I would say that's total long-term savings. ISA's fine. I mean, we can talk about the different ways you can save for retirement. And I think, a pension is a really effective way to do it because of the tax breaks. And I mean, it's a double-edged sword, but the fact that the money is locked away, right? So it doesn't get used for something else. Now, that can be problematic at times if you hit a financial crisis and you need money and it's in your pension and you can't get at it. And I think particularly if you're self-employed, we'll talk about self-employed and what's happened to retirement savings there. But I think that's one of the reasons why self-employed saving has collapsed in the last 10, 20 years. So the value of it being in a pension is the money is locked away, but the drawback is the money is locked away. In answer to your question, yeah, fine. If you want to use ISAs as part of your long-term retirement saving strategy, and there are good reasons to do that, ISAs are super flexible. The money you take out is just tax-free. There's no tax problems with taking the money out of an ISA further down the line, or indeed a lifetime ISA. So that's an advantage, and there are reasons. So you might want to do that maybe alongside a pension. You might want to invest in property. There's lots of other things you can do. You might build up a business and say, that's my retirement savings plan. So I don't think it just has to be a pension, but whatever you do, you need to be doing something. And I think those numbers we talked about, look at that as what your overall kind of retirement savings strategy should look like.
Yeah, you're earmarking X amount, 10%, 15% of your gross income or net income?
Gross income, ideally, yes.
Gross income towards something, a pot for the future, for retirement. Okay, correct. Perfect. So just to confirm, these percentages we're talking about, they include the employer's contributions?
Yeah, absolutely. We're not asking you to put in 10% of your salary and then get your employer on top. And it's great if they do. But yeah, think about your overall savings rate in the context of what, between me and my employer, what's the total going into my retirement savings?
This was a clip from our episode with pensions guru and general legend, Tom McPhail. To watch the full episode, click right here.